Yo everyone, and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be doing a review as well as a demo on a relatively new product. When I say relatively new, it's been out in the UK for maybe 2 months, I want to say, and obviously it came out in the US ages ago. And that is the Maybelline Anti-Age Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. If you guys remember, I think it was at the beginning of this year, they came out with this one, which is the Instant Anti-Age Perfector 4-in-1 Whipped Matte Makeup. So this is almost like its glowy skin kind of counterpart, whereas this one says that it is a primer, powder, concealer and BB cream all in one, which is the whole 4-in-1. This one is supposed to be a primer, concealer, highlighter and BB cream. So you can see the slight difference there, because this one is obviously geared more towards kind of glowy sort of skin, whereas the other one's more mattifying, which is why it's got that powder claim, and this one instead has the highlighter claim. Now I think I paid something like $9.99 for this, so it's relatively inexpensive. Okay, and it says that this one is 20ml, which is odd because most normal foundation-y base kind of products are generally 30ml. This one is 30ml and this one is 20ml, yet it still costs £10. So this comes in 8 self-adjusting shades, and the reason why they call it self-adjusting is because one shade should technically, according to them, match at least 4 different skin tones. Now you're probably thinking, how is that possible? Now this is not full coverage, this is light coverage, as is the other product as well, and because of the fact that it is a light coverage kind of BB cream kind of texture, it doesn't have that kind of pigmentation, meaning that more than one skin tone can use it. Now personally, I find it quite difficult to get one that matches me as perfectly as possible. I am obviously wearing it on my face right now. Now the shade that I bought mine is 1.5 light medium. When I bought this one, it was in 0.2 light to medium. So the name is the same, but I don't understand, but the numbering is different. But basically there aren't that many shades, and not everyone's going to be happy about that, because there is a very large chance that you may potentially be missed off, especially if you prefer to build up your foundation. Now bear in mind, this is not a foundation, but I'm going to keep calling it a foundation because in my head it's a foundation, because obviously they have said it is a primer, concealer, highlighter and BB cream. So it's more of a BB cream basically, with that kind of feel and texture, rather than it being a foundation and you expecting a lot of coverage to come with that. Now let me just read to you what it says off Maybelline's website. It says, discover our Instant Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Primer Makeup for a perfected glow look that primes, conceals, highlights and even skin tone with light coverage. They say it's available in 7 self-adjusting shades, but on Superdrug's website they have 8. I don't get it. That blend into skin tone. For a world without animal testing, we do not test on animals, blah, 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 blah. Okay, that's good to hear. And they don't really say much else. They don't really say anything in terms of how long it's meant to last on the skin or anything else like that. So that's obviously why I'm here. Let me just show you guys what the packaging itself looks like. Here's what it looks like. Very cheap, very cheap. I've said that even about the previous one. Very cheap kind of packaging. They've kept to that whole anti-age concealer sponge tipped applicator on the top, and that's why it's so messy. So what you basically do, you twist it round and out comes the product. I'm not going to squeeze it too much because I've obviously already been using it, and at least here you can see the amount of product that you've got left inside. The only problem that I have with a dispenser such as this is a lot of the time you will actually twist it too much and too much will come out, and there's nothing you can do with it. There's not that kind of control that you have with more pump type of applicators. Plus it has the opportunity to get very, very messy. I've not even had mine that long and already there's lots of product inside, because I'm not always going to perfectly like stick it inside like I did just there. So I'm going to be showing you guys in today's video what it looks like against my skin. The brush that I'm going to be using is a Real Techniques stippling brush to apply it to my face. And yes, even though I am jabbing it onto my face, that's just for aesthetic purposes, but I generally tend to wipe it. Now it's obviously up to you. Some people can actually just use this sponge to apply it to the skin. Personally, I don't feel that it blends in as easily as I would like. Plus a lot of products is still coming out of the actual sponge itself. So rather than over applying, I can just apply it in little places where I want to, and then use a brush to spread it out. Now I'm going to be showing you guys first off what it looks like just on one side of my face, just so that you can see in terms of how the coverage looks and how one side definitely looks a lot more even than the other side before I apply it to the other side of my face. This glides onto the face like a very gel type of kind of moisturizer. It's got a very, very lightweight feel, almost like a runny-ish sort of texture, but it's not runny, if that makes sense, because the actual actual consistency is so lightweight. Whereas the whipped matte makeup is in a whipped texture, this is definitely more in a liquidy form. I actually prefer this one to the previous one in regards to its texture, just because I feel that it glides across the skin a lot more easily, making blending out onto your face very, very quick. Now, because this is obviously got light coverage and I've got lots of marks and scarring, etc. on my face, I have applied it extra on my cheek area just to give myself that little bit of extra coverage. But as you can see, once it's all blended in, you can see that little hint of sheen to my face. It's not overly so, even though it says it's a highlighter. Despite the fact that I've got textured skin, I don't feel that this emphasizes the texture on my face whatsoever. It just gives me a really nice kind of healthy sort of glow. Now that is how it looked like on my face without anything else, no powdering down or anything like that, no concealer, nothing, just so that you guys could see exactly what it looks like on its own without any kind of other interference. Now, before I filmed this review, obviously I wanted to see what it looked like on my face without any kind of powder, and I was very, very surprised. Considering that I've got normal to combination skin, this did not get oily throughout the day as it would do if I didn't use a powder. I always have to use powder on my face, mostly because firstly it helps lock the foundation that you've got underneath in place, helps keep your skin relatively mattified, and also helps with the longevity of the product as well. I didn't find that happened with this at all. This does not move, it doesn't go shiny, it doesn't go patchy, it doesn't budge throughout the day. It literally stays on my face in exactly the same way it was at the beginning of the day till when I remove it. And because of that, this definitely gets a 10 out of 10 from me. I think it's an excellent product. Now, bear in mind, I'm not necessarily the target market because I generally prefer medium to full coverage kind of foundations because of the reasons I've already mentioned. I've got redness on my face, I've got hyperpigmentation in certain areas, post-inflammatory pigmentation that is steadily fading, but then sometimes it comes back because I get another spot, etc. Skincare is a vicious cycle which is continuous basically. So for somebody like me, I definitely need that little bit of extra coverage. However, for those days when I don't want to, because personally I've seen how my makeup looks and I think it looks really, really nice, I did however powder it down, and all I used was the Maybelline Fit Me Matte and Poreless. But again, that's because of my preference to have not really dewy kind of skin. However, if you don't powder it down, it still has a slight tackiness to it, but ever so slight. It's not sticky per se, but it has that slight feel to it because it is a dewy kind of product. I generally do not like to buy dewy kind of foundations. I always go for matte. But in this instance, I was very happy with the way that this performs. Dewy foundations generally for me tend to move, budge around the face, emphasize texture. You become very, very shiny a lot faster, especially if you don't have dry skin. And that did not happen with this at all. So for those of you that are on the market for just kind of like your skin but better, you would definitely like something like this. Even though it has got a slight glow to it, it's almost like a really natural kind of glow. Like you've been awake up and about halfway through the day. The natural oils have come out in your skin, but you're not looking greasy, you're just looking healthy. And that's exactly what this is. So for those of you that really like that kind of hint of a glow to your face, you will really like this. For those of you that are used to matte makeup and want to try something different, you would definitely like this as well, purely because of the reasons I've already mentioned. You don't get shiny throughout the day. I found that this worked on my face very nicely over 12 hours. There was barely any moving around. The only thing that I noticed that there was some slight fading throughout the day, and that's because I had been touching my face and, you know, putting on my coat, something rubs off, because it is transferable. It's not non-transferable, but they also don't claim that it's not either. So in terms of it saying it's got a primer in it, well, that must be the reason why it lasts so long on my face. So we're going to have to give it a tick for that. In terms of concealing, slightly but not completely. I think it very much depends on what you're trying to conceal. So in that respect, I would say yes and no, kind of like a 50-50. But generally speaking, I do find that it evens out the skin very nicely. In terms of it being a highlighter, yes, you do get that natural overall glow. It doesn't make you look like a shiny, greasy kind of disco ball or anything like that. So in that respect, I'm going to have to say yes. And in terms of it being a BB cream, I definitely think that it performs in that same kind of way, that breathable skin kind of way, that your skin but better kind of look, that natural healthy glow, especially for those of you that like to go for that whole no makeup kind of look. So overall, I would have to say that I give this a 10 out of 10. I would hope that a lot of people can try this, even though there's only a small amount of shades. But obviously that completely depends on how much you generally like to build up your foundation type of product on a daily basis. If you're just going for a natural kind of look, you will only use a small amount. If you're going for more coverage, I would personally say use foundation rather than applying this over again and again and again, because trust me, I've tried it. No matter how much you build it up, there isn't that much there to build up. It just about does an extra layer on my cheeks where I need it. But then again, I know that I'm going to go in with powder and contour and other things afterwards. Therefore, those kind of marks aren't completely visible. Just having a look at my face up close, so I can still see my remnants of marks underneath my skin. And I can see my beauty spot. I can see redness. I can still see a fair bit underneath my skin. So like I said, you don't get that coverage. They do tell you it is light coverage. However, I suppose it depends on how much it bothers you, to be honest. So that's it for my review of the new Maybelline Perfector 4-in-1 Glow Makeup. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Like, comment, make sure you subscribe to my channel. If you've got any comments about this product, feel free to ask me below in case I've forgotten to mention anything. Other than that, I hope you guys are wonderful and great, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye.